Hi, sociologists. I hope you're doing well on this Monday morning. I just want to check in with you. We had a quick week last week where we hustled through meeting each other, and then you had to talk about 3 theoretical perspectives. I'm sorry that it was kind of a rush. That's the first week. The first week is usually kind of a busy figuring out who's staying in the class and who's not, and then making space for the wait list because there's always a wait list. So that's done. If you're still in, if you're here, you're here. I didn't drop you. So hey, how you doing? Um, so besides meeting and greeting, you also learned a little bit about 3 theoretical perspectives. Um, you learned about symbolic interactionism, structural functionalism, and conflict theory. You learned about 3 main theorists. You learned about Weber, Durkheim, and Marx. And you talked a little bit about the perspectives. So conflict and functionalism, the 2 macro level analyses, looking at large scale institutions, that kind of stuff. Come here, Theo. Come here, Theo. Stop it. My dogs are playing. I'm going to show you his head. Here's his nose. He's being loud and stupid. Go play, but be quiet. It's very hard to work from home sometimes. If you have children or animals, you understand. Luckily, my child is not here. Even though I like her. So the 3 theoretical perspectives, how they help us understand things, right? These are theories, and theories are something that all disciplines use. And what they do is they help us frame kind of an understanding when we're looking for meaning. And so in looking for meaning, in terms of sociology, we're looking to understand society. We're looking to understand the individual within society. We're looking to do a lot of different things that have to do with culture. And you're going to start looking at different topics within sociology, and you're going to look at things sociologically as we go throughout the course of the semester. But right now we're just kind of understanding the basics and the foundations. And so theories are great. They help us understand things. But if we're not doing any research, we really don't know what it's all about. So this section that you're doing this week is talking about research and research methods. And so basically, the theory is a tool to understand. So when we do our research, we are applying a theory. So if you want to study, the criminal justice system, maybe you want to employ a Marxist conflict theory analysis to look at, like, a Marxist would say the law is an instrument of oppression, and it's meant to oppress certain groups so that those in power can maintain their power. Right? So you might want to look at prisons through that lens if you're studying something like mass incarceration. You might want to look at it through a functionalist lens. What is the function of a prison? Is it to rehabilitate? Is it to keep the citizens safe? What kinds of things are part of a functional analysis? And so as we go through the semester, you're going to use these theories as tools, right? You'll be playing with them, practicing with them, thinking about them, and it'll start to become more interesting and easy for you as you go along. Those are the 2 main big theories, right? The functionalist theory and the conflict theory. And they get along, but they also disagree on certain things, right? There's always the idea of inequality within a conflict theorist that is, central to how they understand society. There's always going to be this place where there's people in power seeking to maintain their power, and there's people who are disempowered trying to kind of just get what they can get. And, that's a very standard sociological theory that is used very frequently by a lot of us, especially in the social justice kind of field of sociology. Many of us study things with an eye for social change. And so conflict theory is it's a useful tool for me. I also like the micro-symbolic interactionist theory. I teach the social psychology class that's taking place right now, and I use symbolic interactionism as that theory to understand things. And so that looks at face-to-face interactions and the roles we play and how that shapes our behavior. And we'll get into that more. You're going to think about it in terms of your own socialization and how you became you when you write your paper, which is coming up pretty soon, couple weeks, maybe a week or 2. So be mindful of due dates as you proceed throughout the course of the class. So The sociological research question then for this week is going to ask you something about sociological research. It's teaching you the scientific method, right? How we decide what it is we are going to study. And for me, I've gotten to study a number of things in my career. I've gotten to study how people learn about sex and how gender plays a role in that. That was part of my master's level work. And then my grad work for my doctorate was about how women exist in the occupied territories of Palestine and how they resist the occupation of Palestine by an external occupying force. So those are two research projects that I used both symbolic interactionism and conflict theory to discuss. Currently, my research is really focused on mass incarceration and the ways in which the prison system is out of control, which, I mean, I don't think that's new news to most of you that are following any of kind of popular culture. And so conflict theory obviously comes into play for that. And the current, I'm presenting at a conference in April on wellness in a total institution like San Quentin, well, in San Quentin. And that is something that that's going to involve a lot of sociological imagination, which is C. Wright Mills' work that you're reading about in the beginning chapters as well. So anyways, so this is kind of just a standard scientific method kind of model. And then I'm asking you to create a model, like create a study. I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be super detailed, but what would you like to learn more about? And how would you go about doing it? So, and I always think, like, if you're a social major or if you're a social science major or any of that, I always think, make this useful. Like, every bit of work you do in preparation for what comes next, I always say, see if you can use it later, because that's always a great way to not do work for nothing, if that makes any sense. My whole grad school, I'll tell you a little secret. Every paper I did in my PhD program had something to do with my dissertation. So I was able to pull parts of it so that I could include that in my dissertation. And then you just cite yourself, which is really fun. It feels like, oh, I'm citing myself. I'm so smart. It's sort of funny. But in any case, always, always, always be good at managing the work that you're doing and make it useful, is what I'm trying to say, so that you're not feeling like, oh man, I have to do this giant project and then I'm never going to look at it again. Well, make sure that you're going to look at it again. Make sure that that project is related to something you're going to do next. Happy to discuss that at any point. But in the meantime, happy posting. Welcome to like the beginning of the semester. Now we're going to get down to business. We're going to think things through sociologically, and we're going to have a good time. So you take care, and I look forward to seeing your posts.